Hey everyone, welcome to the M&R Show. I'm Ron.
And I'm Malcolm.
And today we have a special guest. I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, Malc and Ron. Thank you guys for having me on the show. My name is Jordan Foote. I am a draft expert for Arrowhead Report on Sports Illustrated. And I just really have been kind of diving into film and stuff like that ahead of this year's draft. So I'm really excited for that. I'm doing a 100 and 100 series right now with 100 different prospects leading up to the draft. They're Chiefs specific, but all those reports kind of tie into the NFL draft as a whole. So again, thank you guys for having me on, and I'm really excited to start up.
Hey, so we got somebody all the way from Kansas, man. Midwest Kansas.
Yes, sir.
This is different, though. I like this. Nice for you able to come on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you guys for having me on, man. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. So we wanted to bring Jordan on today because, Jordan's like one of our draft experts that we follow on Twitter. We have we do a live talk on Twitter. So I wanted to bring him on for this topic. And since the NFL season is over, it's mock draft time, everybody's favorite time of the year. So we're just going to be on here. We're going to be breaking down some prospects. Possibly next week, we're going to start doing our top 5 list. But this week, we're just doing 3 prospects that we all like. And Jordan's going to start us today.
Yeah, man, my dude, as a Chiefs person, I want them to keep giving Patrick Mahomes weapons to throw to and just keep making it unfair for the rest of the league. So if Rashod Bateman from Minnesota is available at 31, which I don't think he is, if 30 teams pass on him, there's a problem just because of how talented he is. But man, that's also the wideout class this year is deep. It is insane how many good wideouts there are. But man, Bateman, he does a little bit of everything. The only thing that is a question mark for me is that he isn't a burner. But everything else, he high points the ball. He has good hands. He gets good separation. His release is really quick. He accelerates quickly. He's a big-bodied guy. He is a perfect modern X receiver where if you need him to go get you a first down, he can do it.
Yeah, I actually had him rated higher than Chris Olave before he went back. So I think really high of him because Olave is a stud. But again, this class is still deep with even people like Elijah Moore later. So, but Malc.
Oh, nah. For me, though, I do like Bates. To be honest, before this show, I was looking at some video of him. And it's crazy because it was from last year. And it was talking about how he can be a top receiver this year. But it's so crazy how deep this draft is. So instead of him being a top receiver, he could be pushed all the way down to mid, maybe late first round. So it's just crazy how things work, especially since a year and how deep this receiver class is. But for me, I like the prospect in Kyle Pitts. Now, I think that he's a very good prospect, coming from Florida. I think he's one of the best receivers in the draft as a tight end. He has the mismatch in the size and the speed to be able to be big enough to be able to where that defensive backs can't be able to guard him and fast enough where he can go past linebackers. And then when you're talking about a guy who has elite 50-50 ball skills, you can throw it to him, you think that he's not open, but he's going to catch the ball like he was always open, no matter what. I think that one thing that we have to look at a guy like Kyle Pitts is he does have a lot of strengths, but it comes with some weaknesses. I think that one big weakness that he has is blocking. He can go from a guy from Antonio Gates, or he can be very good and be a good blocking receiver and a very, pass catching receiver. But I just think that with a guy like Kyle Pitts, he has to improve on his blocking because, it would suck for him not to be able to be a good blocker and be able to really, really fulfill his potential. So I think Kyle Pitts is a very good option, a very good prospect I'd like to look at.
Yeah, man. The thing with Pitts, when Travis Kelce came into the league,
a stud.
Yeah, he's a beast. When Kelce came into the league, he wasn't the best blocker, and he had all the tools. Dude was always big and fast. Pitts could be the best in the league one day. He has that potential. So, like you said, Malc, I think that he's got to be able to block in order to kind of fulfill that.
Most definitely.
Yeah, Pitts I think he's probably the biggest unicorn in this draft where his skill set really can be replicated. A lot of, like I said, the receiver class, a lot of your receivers, but a lot of the skill sets can be replicated. This guy, the number 2 tight end the gap is so big that it's not even funny. So I think that's the last thing I'll just say about Kyle Pitts. But okay, now my prospect is Javonte Williams, running back from UNC. The other running back from UNC is also very good, but we want to talk about Javonte Williams. who I think is very underrated. He actually broke 75 tackles this year on 150 carries. So that's the highest in at least the last, I think it was 8 to 10 years. So I feel like that translates. We know the running back is a very reliant position. So like it's based on your line, but broken tackles, that type of stuff translates. Because even if your line isn't as elite, like a Pittsburgh line from back in the day with Le'Veon Bell, we saw that can make a running back look a little better. You can still be able to produce. Also, I mean, it just seemed like this guy ran for a first down or a touchdown 45% of the time, which is insane. That just shows you how efficient this guy is as a runner. I think this would be a great running back. I'm not sure if he's maybe your one, if he gets a 300 carry back. We see Alvin Kamara not be a true one, but still get the big contract. So, yeah, Javonte Williams.
Wow. I mean, I do like Javonte. I do got a running back in mind that I'm gonna later talk about. But I mean, he's very, he's very good though. Sometimes I do look at competition a lot, and I think that UNC, they played against a lot of ACC opponents, and
yeah.
I really, other than Clemson, but I feel like, I want to see what he does more. There's some times that I've seen that he struggled. There's some times that he has some breakout games. But,
he killed against Miami.
I like what he's gonna. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like what he's gonna do in the league, like what he offers. But I just think there's one more running back that we really need to look at. And I'll talk about it. I'll definitely talk about it.
Yeah, no, I like Williams. I think that, man, it's like Ron said, versatility. Like you don't have to be a true like bell cow number one, like carrying the load, like Le'Veon Bell 300 plus carries type running back. Like if you can catch the ball, get out of the backfield, run some routes, and still be electric in the running game like that, that's huge. Like players that can do that now, I think are like in the best spot out of really in any point in NFL history. Like we could have a whole podcast about that if we really wanted to. Yeah. My number 2, I'm going with Richie Grant, the safety from UCF. And and this is a weird safety class this year. Like there's not one dude who stands out and you're like, that dude is going to be an all-pro for 10 years. So Richie, like he can do everything. He has the ball skills. He has the range to go sideline to sideline. His tackling form is a little bit sus, but like he tries, which I mean, that's more than half the battle is making an effort. He can play in the slot. He can play a little bit of everything. He can be a box safety closer to the line. So I like him. He's really versatile, and he might be my safety one. I kind of flip-flop with a few different guys there.
No, I totally agree with you with him. He's very good though. He's very good. I have no.
There's a lot of safeties that, like you said, are really close. Like TCU has 2 safeties that are probably going to go in the second round that are both stud. And like you said, all the safeties in this class, the top like 4 or 5, I can say are box, free, and slot corners. In college, they've all at least done that at least over, I think it was 100 snaps. Each of the top 4 safeties have at least played 3 different positions, at least 100 snaps. So that's just the name of the game is the hybrid safety. New England kind of brought that into the league, kind of, with the hybrid safety thing, but everybody can do everything. Like Tyrann Mathieu. We see Tyrann Mathieu like the perfect hybrid guy that can line up anywhere. So, yeah.
For me, I'm gonna go for defense. I'm gonna keep my running back for last. But for defense, I do like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I think he's very good. For him, I like that he's versatile in his athleticism. I think that to get today's game, you're looking for linebackers who like to, play in coverage, defend in coverage. I think that he's the perfect one. Some things that you got to think about him is, yes, he's a little undersized for a linebacker. He can run. He can run from sideline to sideline. But another thing is from run support, like how is that going to go? I feel like he's going to struggle with that, but he has to get bigger to get bigger. He does remind me of a guy like Tevin Smith, from who played in Jacksonville and how he was very good. He is from 7-5, so I like the I love the 7-5 product from my area, from where I'm from. So he is definitely from there. So I definitely appreciate him and his production for Notre Dame. But he's a very good open field tackler, and I feel like if teams now who are looking for a linebacker should be able to really be good in coverage, as you've seen Javonte David and like the magnificent job that he did for the Super Bowl run. You can see what he can do with that defense. You can see something in a guy like Jeremiah and see that, he could probably do the same thing if he adds that weight and adds that, that thump mentality, he will be a lot more better. But I just think that he's a very good prospect to look at. And I just think that coming into the league, he can be very good as a coverage linebacker, as a guy who can be maybe at the Mike spot. I don't know about the Will spot, but he can be really good though.
Yeah, I think he's really good. He's literally a 2021 linebacker is what you draft. He's literally the cover 3 linebacker. He's literally Deion Jones, Devin Bush. Though that's his mold. I mean, you want a linebacker nowadays that can run. A lot of linebackers are running like sub 4.6 nowadays. You kind of gotta be able to run, because the tight ends, like you said, we got Cowboys coming out. That's who his matchup is. You gotta be able to stay with these guys a little bit. So he's pretty, like you say, he played pretty good in the defense, and Notre Dame use him everywhere. So yeah.
I think one thing about him is he has to play on the team that likes to blitz a lot. He's a very good blitzer. That's one thing.
He can blitz.
He's a very good blitzer, and he understands how to be in coverage. So I think a blitzing team, a 4-3 scheme type of blitzing team would be perfect for him, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if the thing with a lot of those guys is if they can just put on 10 pounds of muscle, which I mean, that's a big deal. But once you get into the NFL and they put you on that nutrition and weight plan and all that stuff, a lot of those guys are actually going to put in the work and do it. And the ones that can be great are going to go out and do it. And that 10 pounds makes a huge difference. Like you said, Malc, in run support, that's the difference between getting completely washed away by an offensive lineman or staying in the play and being able to make a difference. That makes a huge difference.
Okay, now my second prospect is Caleb Farley. Definitely big fan. Especially as a Cowboys fan, this is my number one selection for the Dallas Cowboys would be Caleb Farley. 6'2", about 210, projected to run 4.35. It's probably not going to be a big combine this year, everybody knows, but before he's running 4.35. I definitely still like Patrick Surtain, but Patrick Surtain is my number 2 because even though he's more polished than Farley from Virginia Tech, of course, he's not just as much of a raw athlete. It's just hard to be 6'3" and run 4.3. That's just not easy. And I mean, I think of course, everyone knows he sat out this season. So in 2019, he had 7 games where he only allowed 1 catch or fewer. And the only other quarterback to do that was, funny enough, Trayvon Diggs, also in the Dallas Cowboys. So I just think, also, I feel like his best fit is next to a corner that is more physical. Because even though he's big, he's not really a physical corner. He kind of reminds me like Brandon Flowers, but if Brandon Flowers wasn't 5'9" and could run like that, that's kind of his mold in that way. Or really, as big as I know everybody, I don't want to copy everybody, but everybody's calling him Antonio Cromartie. Because Cromartie could run and bump, but wasn't as good of a tackler. So, yeah.
I do like Caleb. I like him. But I really like Sutton a lot better. I think Sutton, I think Sutton is more better than him. But I do like Philly though. He's very good.
I like Farley. Surtain is my guy. So they're like 1A and 1B to me. I love both of them. And like you said, Ron, about Surtain's athleticism, I'm kind of not worried about it, but just that ceiling isn't there for him to put everything together and be such a dominant player. He has his work cut out for him there.
I think the only thing that I've been looking at a lot of Surtain, what he does, but I think the only thing
he's a stud though.
He's a stud. I didn't see a lot of interceptions, so I can tell you that. I didn't see a lot of interceptions, and it might not be a problem, but to be honest, you're in college, you know what I'm saying? So I felt like I would have seen a lot more, interceptions that he had. He had a lot of pass breakups, so I give him that. But pass breakups is good, but when you get into the NFL, you need to turn the ball over. You need to get those opportunities. So I got to see what he does with that. So we can see about that, though.
Yeah. I'm going to jump to my third, but first, speaking of turnovers, shout out to Shakur Brown at Michigan State. Dude had 5 interceptions in 7 games last season.
Good God.
I almost put him on my list. And he started off the season as the nickel cornerback and had back-to-back interceptions in those games, then got kicked back outside and had 3 more. So I don't want to spend too much time talking about him because I'd be cheating and giving more than you guys. But shout out to him. But anyway, Patrick Jones from Pittsburgh, I called an audible. I was looking at my list. I'm going to pick him. Man, he needs a little bit of work in his game. He bites on misdirections a little bit and run support. He missed times to snap count, but you can't teach a first step like he has. Like when he gets off at the line of scrimmage, you can't do anything about it. And he's 264-ish pounds. Like that's what he's listed at. He's probably a little bit lighter, so he's strong enough to go against offensive tackles at the next level. Him and Rashod Weaver, like that Pitt defense, they have Paris Ford out in the secondary. They have a ton of dogs on the Pitt defensive front and in the secondary. So Patrick Jones would be my number 3.
I like that. That's a good pick. I think Patrick Jones has a lot of potential too. You have anything else for Patrick Jones?
Really, I just worry about his speed rush, really, because his bull rush is pretty elite, especially from the college level. He was throwing offensive linemen in the conference, but you got to be able to win with more than one move at the edge position. So in the league, you have to win with 2 different types of moves. He has a really strong bull rush, but the speed rush, I'm just a little nervous of.
I definitely feel you with that, though. I definitely feel you. Now, for my third prospect, I'm telling you about my running back. All right. Now, Ron, I know you do not like running backs in the first round, but you have to understand this right here. I think he has the potential to be a very good running back, and he's different from these first round running backs. I'm going to talk to you about Najee Harris, all right? Now, I really love Najee Harris. I really love the way he plays. He gives me that thump mentality that I've been waiting for running back. And, he's been giving the same mentality like a guy like Ezekiel Elliott did and those first-round running backs did, like Leonard Fournette. But let's see the thing that's going to separate him. Is the reason why we put him in this first-round, projections and stuff like that. Number one, he's a receiver. He's a good receiver out the backfield. And I think that's one thing you have to look at with running backs. You've seen guys like you said about Leonard Fournette. You said things about how Ezekiel Elliott, how they're not able to go outside the backfield, how they can't be a receiver. With a guy like Najee Harris, number one, he's a very good receiver out of the backfield. He's a very good blocker that people have not talked a lot about. He's a very good blocker. And at first, his couple years, in college, he had to deal with a lot of people in front of him, with Damian Harris and Josh Jacobs. And he was still averaging over six yards a carry. That's another thing, too. And then now he's in this situation where he basically improved all across the board. Because number one, he was trying to run away from defenders. Now he's running through defenders right now. And I think that's one thing we have to look at. So number one, his size is 6'2", 229. So let's go in comparison to a guy like Derrick Henry, who is 6'3", 238. This guy is big. This guy is going to be thumping guys. But what separates him from a guy like Derrick Henry and what separates him from a guy like Darren Harry is the fact that he's a receiver out the backfield. I just think that's so valuable. And I think that you looked at guys like Christian McCaffrey, who you feel like he could stay in the league a lot longer and do a lot more things because he's a receiver out the backfield. He does a lot more things. So I think that a guy like Najee Harris, who gives you versatility, is a very good prospect who should be in the first round. And I know, Ron, you don't like the first round running backs, but I think that he can be an exception. Just give him an exception, bro. Just give him an exception.
I do like Najee Harris. I do. But amazing line, it just kind of scares me. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of scares me. We all know, it really scares. I don't know, the gap between Williams, I don't think it's that big, and they're gonna be a 2-round difference.
Yeah, I'm with you, Malc. But I'm also with Ron. I don't like first-round running backs, but Najee Harris is he's a different type of dude. He has potential to be really special in the NFL. And, I guess if you want a playmaker like that in round 1, then so be it. And teams do want players like that. So, regardless of where he goes, I think he's going to be a good player either way.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that we should I understand about the first round running backs. I understand they don't really do good. But I think that you look at guys like, okay, I can say Christian McCaffrey. He's been injured this year, but you see the potential that he's shown and how, this could be long term. I understand that guys, you look at guys like Leonard Fournette, you see how they are. They're not a receiver in the backfield. Ezekiel Elliott is not a receiver in the backfield. That's the reason why, other guys behind them are getting more opportunities because they can do a lot more things. And guys like Christian McCaffrey, they know that's their focal point of the offense. He does a lot of things for the offense. And I think that Najee Harris has the potential to do the same thing. I'm not trying to overdo it, but he could probably be in the same role as a guy like Derrick Henry. But he can be able to get in the backfield, be able to receive, take some catches and stuff like that. So, I'm not going to try to go big overblown. I understand what y'all mean by first round running backs, but I just think that a guy like Najee Harris, who gives you a receiving ability, he's a very good blocker, and he can run very hard, and he's doing a lot better, and he's a big running back. So he's not no small running back. He's a very big running back, and we've seen that compared to the size of Derrick Henry, and he does a lot more than what Derrick Henry can offer. So I think you just need to look at that for the first round. I think it's just a lot of things that you need to look at, and I just think that's the perfect one. So.
No, and like the thing with those guys, like there are exceptions to that. Like I'm against like getting a good running back in the first round because you can get a good running back off the street to run for 1,000 yards and block and pass protection. But like if there's a built different like dude who you can get in the first round, that's totally like if there's a Christian McCaffrey, by all means like go after him in that first round because he's literally, like you said, Malc, the focal point, the engine of the entire offense. Like Derrick Henry, like Tannehill probably brings more value just because people argue that quarterback, running back, whatever. But Derrick Henry is a different dude. Like he's running for 2,000 yards. Like he's insane. If you can get that type of dude in the first round who can pass protect, run, and catch, then that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think Najee, he is definitely really good. The value, I'm not sure is 100% where I would like the value to be. But at the end of the day, like you said, he does do everything. So,
We mad at my boy, all right? He might do good when he does. Make sure I hit you up first, Ron, all right?
I mean, I didn't say he's not good. I think he's going to be a good running back, but we literally just saw the Super Bowl. Leonard Fournette got cut. Like, we just saw, like, it's just his name of the game. Like, Leonard Fournette's good, but he was cut by Jacksonville, number one pick team. So, like, they need players. Like, you should just be cutting people. But anyway, we're going to go on a tangent here. And okay. Well, okay, I'll move to my last prospect. I want to do it real quickly. So it's gonna be Zach Wilson. This guy, I don't want to be stereotypical, but this guy has a huge cannon for an arm. Definitely my concerns. He's pretty weak conference, but at the same time, he made a lot of tight window throws. He was second in completion percentage within the sticks. This guy and when the play breaks down, this guy becomes an even bigger star in that way. Huge size, seems like a leader. I'm not gonna spoil us. I'm not gonna spoil anything for next week. But I think this guy's really good. I think he should be a top 3 pick. I think he's that good. He's definitely on my board of top 3 pick players. I go that far.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a very good quarterback. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the draft. You're right about that. Weakness about tight windows. He do put his receivers in some bad spots. I've seen like a couple of tapes, and it was just like some of his throws is like if you make this throw, the receiver's gonna be put in the
it's a hospital call.
It's literally like a hospital call, literally, and that's crazy because I heard a lot of people come saying like, yeah, hospital call throw. That's a hospital call throw. Like he's been throwing hospital call throws, and I think that's just. I mean, he's a very good player, but I just think that's the only thing about him. It's just that he put his receivers in some bad situations, and I think that when you get in the NFL, these are some receivers who have families. They oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? This is their job. And I don't think they're going to really roll with the way that he's been, putting the receivers in different situations. So I just think that he's a very good quarterback. I just think that's the big problem that he probably needs to address, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm definitely a big Zach Wilson guy. I'll let Jordan say his piece though.
Yeah, no, I love Zach Wilson. I like Justin Fields, and I think Justin Fields can be a good player, but his throwing motion takes a while to wind up. He's pretty much a one-read quarterback. Like if you watch a lot of his tape at Ohio State, he literally will stare down. He missed touchdowns because he was looking at his first read and would throw to them. There was one play where the dude was in the back corner of the end zone. It might have even been Olave. I don't remember who it was. Yeah, in the back of the end zone in triple coverage when he had someone wide open on the other side of the field. I'm like, in the NFL, you have to be able to see that stuff. And I think he has the potential to be good, and his mechanics are fine. He's a gamer. He's a great leader. I like him. But you can't have stuff like that happen in the NFL because they will eat your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's not going to work.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing I have because, you know, a lot of people coming from Ohio State offense, you know, especially the quarterbacks, they haven't really produced well in the NFL. And, you know, I'm a Washington fan, so I could see one who really hasn't.
A certain somebody.
Exactly. But nah, that's it though. But hey, thanks so much for able to tune in and be able to come into the show. I really appreciate it. You know, for your draft expertise. You know, we love to hear this. You know, I needed another voice for them. They would say that, you know, Najee Harris would be a good first rounder. But it's fine though. It's fine. You know, it's really fun.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for having me on. It was a blast, and we won't tell the people exactly what happened, but in the middle of the show, somebody had their audio cut out. It was some pretty funny things to listen to. Not to throw anyone under the bus or anything, but man, thank you guys.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. But hey, guys, make sure you tune in to our show on Twitter at Malcolm Ron Show and on Instagram at Malcolm Ron Show.
All right, well, you all just follow us on our different social media platforms and, you know, keep showing love.
All right, guys. See y'all later.